You want this episode, don't you? You want me to wrap up the cliffhanger about how Princess Luna is still Nightmare Moon. To tell you things about this episode that Anthony C. and Brony Curious couldn't. Good. Your anticipation has made your mouse button pressing finger powerful. It's time that I show you the power of this fully armed and operational Bat Pony's attention as I show you why. I have a hunch that the Changeling invasion of Canterlot was far more insidious than we ever considered. This is the big one. The idea that got I Have a Hunch started. So, forgive me if this one seems a little breathtaking for me. There's a lot to unpack in the 14 minutes I have left, so let's get started. The first thing you need to always remember about any creative piece of art, be it a TV show, movie, painting, musical composition, or cartoon, is that nothing is ever done that doesn't have a meaning for it, especially in a cartoon. Time wasted on something that has no bearing on the episode or the larger show is wasted money. So, with that in mind, let's plow on. In the opening, we see Canterlot encased in a bubble. Imagine waking up in Canterlot, getting ready to go to work, and the sky is bubblegum pink. Tartarus, being able to see the castle from Ponyville and seeing a bubble around it should be troubling. If it were me, I'd worry that Discord was back again. Since no pony seems to have a problem with it, it's safe to assume that the Crown put out some kind of word that everything was okay. So the crew traveled Canterlot for the wedding and slide through the bubble as their train passes through the front gates. So effectively, this is the magical version of a customs inspection of everyone and everything on board the train. And we finally meet Shining Armor, and my, what an interesting cutie mark design. Anyway, Twilight shows she has some knowledge about this magical shield when she calls it a force field only you can conjure up. And this to me implies that this is a spell unique to him, and judging by his cutie mark, I think it's a safe bet that this shield is based on his specific cutie mark magical ability. When pressed for information, Shining grudgingly tells her that a threat has been made against Canterlot. We don't know who's responsible for it, but Princess Celestia asked that I help provide additional protection. So now we know there's some credible threat to Canterlot, making it understandable that Shining Armor wouldn't tell anyone, even his sister, about this for security reasons. But then, why not let the element bearers know about it? Simple. At this point, there seems to be no more information to give. Why should the element bearers be concerned over something that is partially unconfirmed? And wouldn't something that would require the use of the elements be a far bigger and easier to see threat? So, Shining is doing the right thing, putting in place cautionary security measures without putting a total lockdown on the city or inciting panic. And then we have a flashback to Twilight's full hood days with Cadence, aka Princess Mi Amore Cadenza. Twilight knows she's a princess without a kingdom, or so it seems at the time. And since she's known to Twilight's family as Cadence and not Princess Demandy Pants, had she been living under an assumed name? I would say yes, because let's face it, Twilight not only didn't know Cadence's real name, but was unaware of the Crystal Empire until King Sombra reared his ugly mug again. And even then, the Royal Guard spoke in code about it, meaning that it's likely that knowledge about the Crystal Empire was restricted at best. Tartarus, Cadence didn't even tell Twilight about it either. When we meet fake Cadence, the musical cues have different instruments sliding from one note to another, morphing in the background to let us know that this Cadence is shifting herself constantly. Plus, this is a frosty meeting. Fake Cadence's behavior is annoyance at first, but after she understands who Twilight is and what this signifies for the invasion plans, she becomes more predatory, I'd say. Fake Cadence knows she has to put up with a namby-pamby, huggy-snuggy affection for a while, even though she feels nothing for Twilight. Now, here's something you might want to do. Go back and watch the scene transition from Rarity and the dress check to Pinky and the party checkup. There's a panning view of Canterlot and a distinct buzzing sound. Actually, while you're at it, go back to when the girls first arrive in Canterlot by train, just after Pinky sneezes. Listen again. That buzz was in the background almost the entire time. Remember what I said about wasted effort being wasted money? Sneaky, sneaky sound design, guys. Well done. And finally, Twilight makes her big accusation that Fake Cadence is evil, and it all falls apart in her face, except we know she wasn't wrong, and Fake Cadence captures Twilight into the underground in a pretty terrifying scene, because, for kids. And here's where we're going to pause the story's recap, because I'm going to now explain how I think the situation came to be in the first place and where it almost ended up. But make no mistake about this, in the end, Chrysalis fails, no matter what. So let's backtrack in the show's history. Nightmare Moon has the ability to convert herself into a nearly unnoticeable smoke or fog. It's possible that this was an ability she discovered for herself, being able to almost shadow walk, some might call it. Later, during Nightmare Night, Luna was able to shapeshift into the guise of Nightmare Moon. Was that an illusion or an actual shapeshift? I say it's a real shapeshift, not too different than the Changelings, but with alicorn magic instead. Why bring this up? Glad you asked. When Luna became Nightmare Moon, her home was the castle of the two sisters. It was the only home she'd known for who knows how long. Those days were plagued with threats like Tyrek, Sombra, and Discord. Because of that, she'd know all the ins and outs of it, every nook, every hallway, every defensible parapet, every secret passageway, every trap door, every escape tunnel, in case it should become needed. Making an emergency escape route known to the princesses would have been the pragmatic thing to do. So, Nightmare Moon returns, is transformed back into Luna by the elements of harmony, and heads home with Celestia to live in Canterlot Castle, a place that did not exist when she was banished. A place her sister had built to be her own home, with nothing to remind the citizens of Luna, nothing to show that Luna even existed. And now, this was to be her home. So Luna has 1,000 years of culture to come up to speed with. New towns, new cities, new servants, and a new castle with its own secrets, known only to a select handful of ponies that Luna has to now learn about. New secret passageways, new trapdoors, new escape tunnels, and the history of the construction of Canterlot itself. So Luna at night is able to come and go as she pleases, in between helping ponies with their dreams, headed out into the world to see what's out there from time to time. Ponyville, Everfree, Las Pegasus, Van Hoofer, and eventually she discovers the Changeling Hive. No one in Equestria knows anything about the Changelings. Presumably, the Changelings don't know about Equestria either. It took Cadence's revelation at the interrupted wedding for the knowledge to come forth. So Luna, as Nightmare Moon, crafts an idea with all the knowledge she's acquired and offers up the following plan to Chrysalis to benefit the Hive. Capture and drain the captain of the guard. Capture the Princess of Love for food later. Capture Celestia. Prevent the element bearers from accessing the elements of harmony. Drain Canterlot of its citizens' love. And in exchange, Nightmare Moon gets Celestia. When all is said and done, this is a win-win plan for the Changelings. The citizens of Canterlot are their first-course meal. The Princess of Love becomes a continuing source of food. They gain a new hoofhold in Canterlot from which to infiltrate the rest of Equestria, and all it will take is handing over Celestia to Nightmare Moon, who wants to punish her and control the night. Where's the downside? At this point, there isn't one, or so Chrysalis would think. So the plan begins with Princess Cadence being captured and replaced by Queen Chrysalis shortly after the wedding plans are set in motion. The exact timing isn't that critical, but would have had to have been maybe a month or so before the episode, allowing the Queen to feed off Cadence for a while. The wedding plans are going along well. All the while, Chrysalis is taunting Cadence in the caves about what's going on, who she is, what she's doing to Shining, her invasion plans for Canterlot, how she's going to be married to her love. Yes, Queen Chrysalis would be monologuing. And yes, I have a hunch as to why she's doing it. And no, it's not because she's evil. Shortly thereafter, some pony leaks the information about a threat to Canterlot. It doesn't matter who does it, but it would have had to have been a credible enough source to start putting the guards on edge. So Shining Armor goes to work crafting a new defensive bubble spell that's just beyond his normal ability. It's like trying to sprint the 100-meter dash without training for it. Shining is straining his magical abilities, giving fake Cadence an out to help him by making him just a little drunk to offset the pain. That's what's been happening. By slowly and steadily making Shining drunk to offset the magic strain pain, Chrysalis is making him more susceptible to influence, so that when fake Cadence acts in a way real Cadence normally wouldn't, she could just tell Shining it was pre-wedding nerves or some other excuse, and he'd be willing to accept it. And who would know Cadence better except her fiancé? So every pony else just accepts it. Now, the purpose of this spell is to encase Canterlot and keep out those who are not supposed to be there. We saw the Changeling army were unable to break through the shield. Presumably, anything that wasn't supposed to enter on the train originally would have been stopped the same way. Chrysalis doesn't have to worry since she's already on the inside, but some pony does pass through the shield without being scanned. Princess Luna. One night she flies back to Canterlot from who only knows where, but instead of passing through the bubble, an opening forms, allowing her to enter without being scanned. There is an old expression: a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Why was Luna not scanned? Well, because she's one of the princesses, of course. I'd lay bets that Princess Celestia wouldn't have been scanned either. And wouldn't that have been a little breach in etiquette? Scanning your sovereign leader just in case. I mean, the main six, the bearers of the elements of harmony, the saviors of Equestria, and the redeemers of Princess Luna were scanned. So here's where we're left. Why are Princess Cadence and Twilight Sparkle trapped in the caves under Canterlot? Because Queen Chrysalis trapped them in there. If the Changelings didn't know about Equestria before, how did Chrysalis know about these caves? And how was she able to beat Celestia? And if Queen Chrysalis could beat Celestia, what's this about Chrysalis was going to fail no matter what? Oh, dearie me, just look at the time. Sadly, we'll have to pick up this cliffhanger in the next episode, but on the bright side, I promise, I won't leave you with one after we conclude all this. Until next time, safe travels every pony. I wish you well, and may the real Luna watch over you.